But I think that's a good segue into our next topic, which is Armenia. And for those of you that don't know, there is a humanitarian crisis that is happening in Armenia. So basically, Artsakh, forgive me for my pronunciation, I don't speak Armenian, so my pronunciation isn't that good. But Artsakh was bombed by, I believe, it was by Azerbaijan, right? And so the significance of Artsakh is that the Armenian people live there since 500 BC, right? Like, it's old land that the Armenian people have lived in. And throughout the course of history, there were land disputes of who decided to own it, but then eventually it became its own republic, and it's autonomous now, like kind of like Hong Kong and China.
Well, was it? I heard that there was one of the biggest issues was that, like, during World War I, you know how they basically just scribbled on the map and like, oh yeah, you go here, you go there, like this is how it's gonna work when they broke up the Ottoman Empire. And
I'm not too sure on that,
but I heard that was one of the issues of basically.
They kind of got forgotten.
They basically like drew a line in the map, and then they were like, no, this is our territory. And then the other side was like, well, they gave it to us. It's ours now. So I think I'll have to, if I find the article, it will be on screen and it'll be in the link. And also keep in mind, anyone watching, all of our facts are going to be in the description with a timestamp, so you can go back and fact check us if you want, or you can just Google and do your own research. But everything will be in if you want to call us out, you can. But we have multiple sources for everything we're talking about, and it'll be in the description. But if I find the article, it will be on screen.
Yeah, and so the significance of this is if you look back at 1915, that was when the Armenian Genocide happened, and over 1 million Armenian people were killed, and it was just horrible. It was Turkey trying to completely wipe out everyone there, and
Because of their religion.
yeah, and it's left a horrible scar on these people. And if you've been to an American school, or even anywhere actually, on the day of the Armenian Genocide, you'll see these silent protests where people put tape over their mouths, they wear memorabilia, and the goal of these protests is for the United States to recognize that the Armenian Genocide happened. And the reason why the United States isn't acknowledging this is because Turkey is like a NATO ally to the United States. So if they say that, it'll kind of create tension between the two countries.
Right.
And the U.S. has always been supporting Turkey mainly through arms. Like if you look at the history, over $600 million worth, I think just in Trump's administration, I believe, of just weapons were just shipped over there. It even goes back to like the Clinton administration, if you look at it.
That's how America works. A lot of people don't understand that. We support people who have our best interests in line. Turkey might not have our best interests, but we provide support to people that we think they're going to go a certain way with certain political or militaristic issues. And we see that, like, we will fund militia groups in other countries so they can overthrow the government. You know, that's what happens. And I honestly think that America's not going to do anything about this issue between Turkey and Armenia.
Yeah.
Like Nah, I don't want to know. I'm not going to say no conspiracy theories or anything.
I think he was like legitimately trained.
I think that it's sad because there's all these issues happening around the world.
And it's being neglected.
And I think Americans take for granted a lot of liberties we have. And we're talking about, we're oppressed. Black people are so incredibly oppressed in America now. And I'm like, there is some, systematic racism, and there are a lot of issues with race in America. But there are countries where slavery is legal.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me this, like, oh my God, I'm so oppressed. Like, I can't even go outside. Like, no, don't give me that shit. Like, literally, there are countries where slavery is legal. There is countries where there is like no anti-discrimination laws or anything. And the fact is, I'm not saying there aren't any injustices or racial issues in America. I'm just saying that there are a lot of issues in other countries where if you compare it to America, it doesn't even come close. And so I just think, like I'm saying, a lot of Americans take for granted what's happening, and this Armenian conflict right now, it just shows, and America's not going to do anything. I guarantee you, they're not going to do anything about it. They could literally slaughter millions of people again. They will not do anything about it.
And that's what scares a lot of Armenians in America, is because Armenia is such a small country. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's only like a few million people, like 2-3 million, compared to Turkey, which is, I believe, in the tens of millions. Maybe I think it was 80, right?
And they have better military.
Yeah, exactly. Armenia is such a small country compared to Turkey. They're like grasping at straws, trying to survive, and that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of another genocide happening, and they're hoping for Turkey to put down their guns so that Armenia can, and that there can be peace. But if Armenia puts their guns down first, then the potential, which I think would happen, of another genocide, it could be entirely possible.
It's just, there's a whole lot of like controversy. Like recently, there was like a ceasefire,
and it was immediately disrupted.
It was immediately on both sides. They're both like, "Oh, they did this and they did this." It's like, and I'll put a clip in of like during the ceasefire, this quote unquote ceasefire, like the destruction of people's property and homes and bombings and whatnot. And I think it was Turkey or Azerbaijan. They released, and they did not specify what, like they released drone footage destroying enemy tanks, and they didn't specify when it was happening. So a lot of people are like, is this during the ceasefire? Because they're literally like just openly with drones destroying like, enemy tanks and their enemies' tanks. And, a lot of people are like, they didn't specify this. Like, is this during the ceasefire? And so there's just a whole lot of bad stuff going on with them right now.
And I think, I do understand that America has its own issues right now, like the election, voter fraud, everything, right? America's a mess. I'm gonna just say that, right?
2020 is a show, dude.
But as the world superpower, we do have some type of obligation to help those countries in need, That's what I believe, at least.
I mean, but my whole thing with that is a lot of people don't understand that the budget for the military, millions of dollars of that go to other countries because it's under like you said, 600 million going to Turkey. That would be under military spending. Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand that as the world police, that is why our budget is so high, because we give so much money to other countries. And I think as an American, I think we should be focusing that money on America.
Yeah. So like when you say like focusing on America, you mean like fixing our homelessness issue here, like in LA and stuff like that.
Yeah, like especially like California has the highest homeless population, and we have crumbling infrastructure across the board. Our rivers, that boats and whatnot pass through and they need to be updated. And there's been multiple stories about this. But once again, most of the media does not care about these things that are actually really plaguing America. And they're talking about, oh, we need to tax more. We need, like the Democratic Party is primarily like, we need to tax more. But it's like the money's there. The money is there. Yeah. How about you just reallocate the funds and like redistribute the military spending back into America?
Invaded. No, we won't.
Exactly. The military has come out and said multiple times, we don't need a lot of the things you're giving us. So it's like, we have a huge spending issue, and I think that the Democratic Party is doing a terrible job of. Yeah, the UN needs to do its job, and the Democratic Party needs to stop trying to tax people and saying this is how we're going to fix it, when we can already see they don't know how to manage our money. They don't.
Okay, you would see protests in California. Like there was one a couple of days ago where the whole freeway was blocked, just to grab the attention. And the reason why is because no one is talking about it. Yeah. It's a humanitarian crisis.
But I think that that's the wrong thing to do. Don't ever, like they were smart enough to bring their cars and block, but even then that's still a crime. But I think that is the stupidest thing you could do is go on a freeway. And we've seen that with the Black Lives Matter protests of multiple people getting struck by vehicles by doing that. And then remember the tanker, the big rig? was just like about to plow through them, and
I don't know if city. I don't think cities allow you to block freeways. I think that's all federal stuff. Yeah.
I'm saying like, yeah, they're governed differently, and therefore there's a different set of crimes for that. But I'm saying I think personally, you should not go on the freeway. We saw that I think it was in Seattle or Portland. I'll put the video up. I won't show what actually happened. Like I'll cut it right before. It was, one of them where a dude went on, he was like, I'm trying to get home. They blocked the freeway because they were on the freeway. And then he took a different ramp to get on that he wasn't supposed to use. And then they were blocking the freeway with cars. And then, he's going like the speed limit or speeding, whatever he's doing. And, he goes like, all right, I'm just going to go around these cars. And he can't see. It's nighttime. There's no light.
There were no cars there.
No, there were. There were.
He was using the freeway entrance, and there were people. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't think there were cars there, but the freeway was curved, and he was coming around, and he was speeding to my remembrance, and there were a few cars there, and people were walking around and like protesting, and then he hit someone and had unfortunately killed them.
Yeah, we might be talking. A lot of these have happened, but the one I remember is there was like 3 cars blocking lanes, and then he was trying to go into I think it's the emergency lane, and he went to the emergency lane, struck 2 people, they went flying, and I think that we need to actually protest and not put people's lives in jeopardy. And going on the freeway is just one of those things. Like, what do you expect? Like, are you surprised that you get hit by a car on a freeway where the speed limit, especially here in California and other states, it's different, but the speed limit's a minimum of 55?
I don't know, man. It's just all sad whenever stuff like that happens. Whenever someone has to die at like an unnecessary death. It's just all unfortunate.
Yeah, man. Crazy. I just wish Black Lives Matter would cover, the black police officers that get killed. Oh, like the recent one. There was a black police officer killed by a Black Lives Matter protester. Yeah. I'll put it on screen.
How do you... That doesn't make sense to me. How can you say Black Lives Matter and then just go ahead and kill it? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But another thing I wanted to talk about was that, like, even... I know it's election season and Trump is really busy trying to win the election, but he hasn't... Like, I scrolled through Twitter and I think he mentioned something about the crisis in Armenia, but I think he took it down. And a lot of Armenian legislators are kind of tweeting at him to acknowledge it because even if you were born here, that's where your bloodline comes from, and you have family over there. So obviously there's that concern. And then a lot of and for me at least bringing this up, why I wanted to do it was because you would see people or posting stuff on Instagram stories, tweeting about it on Twitter. For like the average person, you probably only have a few hundred followers, so really how far is that going to go? So I thought this would be a good way to kind of spread the word, give some background info.
Good. I'm down for that. Yeah. But imagine if Trump did acknowledge it, like right before election. Like a few days before election. Imagine how many people would be like, oh, I'm voting for him now.
Exactly, yeah.
That'd be crazy, dude.
And I think that, like I said earlier, that's one of the things that's like not on the Democratic Party side is they will not really condemn. They say, oh, I believe in law and order, but then they turn around and support some of these actions that should not be happening, like the looting, the rioting, and saying like, oh, supporting the bail fund of like bailing out people that got arrested at these protests for rioting and destroying things, and like, it's crazy, man. And the other funny thing is right now in California we have stupid laws, but it might have ended, but they're, especially during COVID, they wanted to cut back on the people in the jails, right? So they had the 0 bail policy.
Oh yeah, they're just letting people out.
Letting people out. You could steal a car and you'll get out, no bail. And I think it's crazy that some of these people should be in jail, but in California, since the 0 bail policy, unless it's like you straight up murdered someone, like you're getting let out. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and stop it there, guys, because we were over our time. But make sure to check the links in the description so you can see, our sources from all these things. And, all the videos we had on screen and all text on screen are all from the sources down below. So if you want to fact check us, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. We'll read them. But thank you again for watching. This is the Wave Podcast, and we got a bunch of videos coming soon.